Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. I really appreciate you taking out time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it, so thank you in advance. Let's get into it. Now we're back with another pro wrestling game. And yes, I do appreciate, what considered as the golden age of pro wrestling with like the Here Comes the Pain and the No Mercies and all of that. But for me, pro wrestling games started way before that. So I needed to, bring it back to the origins of that. And that is Tecmo World Wrestling for the NES. Like, what y'all have to understand for me with pro wrestling is, like, this is something that I've watched, like, literally as a baby. Like, I've always been a pro wrestling fan. It's not going to change. Even if I don't watch it, anywhere near as much as I used to, I'm still a pro wrestling fan. And, video games and pro wrestling have always had a great relationship, at least for me. I've enjoyed, the variations in these wrestling games as we got older and technology got better. But I always appreciate, games that set the bar really high. And Tecmo in particular, in all facets of sports, but, especially in Tecmo World Wrestling, set the bar really high. Like, the character selection alone gives you like every variation of what pro wrestling was at the time. Like, you have a Japanese pro wrestler, you have, basically Tiger Mask, you have somebody who looks like, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, you have, just all of these different things that, somebody looks like they're part of Legion of Doom, this Vader looking guy, like, just everybody, like every brand and every variation of NWA, WCW, WWF, like all of it's represented in this game. And you got to remember, we're only dealing with, a limited control scheme, but the game itself, as far as the actual move list, was like super solid. And it was something that like stood out immediately. I remember playing the WWF game before this and being like, yeah, I guess wrestling isn't something that I'm going to be able to, play on the NES like I do with like basketball and football. And then this game, I ended up playing this at a friend's house, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, we do have quality wrestling games. It's just not, from who I thought it would be. But this is another, me being a huge Tecmo fan is all based on like all of the work they did on the NES. Like, for me as a kid, when playing on the NES, if it said Tecmo next to it, like, I'm in. Like, I'm a huge Tecmo fan, even to this day, just because of what they gave us in those days. So we had this, we had Tecmo Super Bowl, Tecmo Basketball was another game that I'll probably end up doing a video on just because of how far ahead of its time it was in the presentation. And like with Tecmo Wrestling, like, you have these moves. You have moves with the A button, you have moves with the B button, you have moves with both buttons. Like, there's a whole thing in here. Like, they made running easy. Like, I always felt like in wrestling games, running, like, if you can't run easily in the game, it's gonna be a bad wrestling game. That's just my thoughts. Like, if the movement is terrible, it's gonna be bad. In this game, you could run. Just tap forward twice and you start running. Like, everything is very smooth, everything is easy. But then in Tecmo fashion, when you get people like their life's low and you do your super moves or your finishing moves, they go into cutscenes. And listen, that might not mean anything to you, but 5-6-year-old Darius playing this game and seeing that happen, it blew my mind. Like, I was dug in, and so I definitely had to do something to show my appreciation for this particular game. I'm kind of sad we never got anything, after this, but I understand, like, licensing and stuff like that probably came into place, and, but a man can dream. I would love for somebody to do some sort of revival of this game on PC or something like that. I know people have recreated the characters in like Fire Pro Wrestling, but it's just not quite the same. So this will be like my first favorite wrestling game, basically. So I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you played this game, who was your favorite character? Did you get a chance to play this against somebody and have like some drag out long matches, some 60-minute, Donnie Brooks? But yeah, who's your favorite wrestler? What were your favorite moves, favorite moments? And if you are a wrestling game fan and you have not played this game, I 110%, recommend this game to you. You have to give this a shot. As always, I appreciate you checking out this video. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe.